I'm live. Hello, hello, hello. There we go. I did my makeup. I do have eyebrows today. Something, right? Do have that. Let's go on Instagram, see if anything happens. I haven't done Facebook Live for a while. So, yeah. So, welcome everybody. Whew. We're in the dog faces of the moon. Yeah. That's my new word is yeah. 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 There is, I think, people feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. Um, a lot is coming in and a lot is going to be changing very quickly for us. And I think that's going to be the biggest and the hardest thing. Good morning, everybody. As I just sort of, here I go. I'm just going to start. I did do eyebrows today. My hair is my hair is what it is. My shower is not working again. So the landlord has to come in and fix the shower. So, anyways, it is what it is. With this dark phase of the moon, it's what we used to call it in ancient times. It used to be called the devil times. And it is a time when, yeah, it's darkness. Everything is, there's a little bit of more of a heaviness feeling, especially as we're going towards Halloween and we're going towards, we're heading into the middle section of fall, right? So we're in Scorpio season. It's a fixed season. It's not moving anywhere. Good luck in moving a Scorpio or any fixed sign, right? So it is a very fixed energy. So we're entering into sort of the fixed energy of fall and we are also heading into the craziest election ever as it's going to be unfolding. And I already did my prediction and I was just listening to um Timcast IRL. I don't know if any of you know who that is or if you listen to him. Anyways, he had a guy on there, and he was even, and he's not an astrologer. He's just like a political analyst, right? Talking about the how everything is going and how everything is unfolding. And he even said that deep state does not want Trump to be president. We know this. Will he win by a landslide? More than likely, he will. Uh, with all, starting, I mean, ballot boxes being start on fire and all of this. Now, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this and they say, well, that's not spiritual. It is. You have to be aware of what is going on. Like listening to even things back in the day, listening to the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, I think what was it was Daniel, I think it was, and talking about to obey in Babylon. Obey what's going on in Babylon. We all know was a sin and debauchery and all of this. But in order to be freed, you had to understand what the political realm is. You had to know how to play the game. Schindler's List. I mean, he was a man with money, but he knew how to play the game in order to gain the freedom of the Jews and many people, right? And that's the whole thing, is that you got to understand how to play the game. We live in this world. It's a muggle world. Understanding who's in power, what's going on, how to be able to navigate it. How do you navigate this world? How do you navigate the world around you? When you are understanding the navigation of it, you're able to create what you need to create. You are able to get through what you need to get through and bring forth your prosperity and your abundance. And that's important in order to gain your freedom. So much in this world is changing. Now, I put a post on there and people just went crazy. I thought it was funny about TVs and computers. And I mean, AI intelligence was just turned on today. Apple Intelligence. And Apple Intelligence is basically what runs, it's running a lot of things that a lot of people think it's not, but it is. It is an Apple Intelligence. It's on the new iPhones, and I know people are gonna say, "Well, I'm not gonna get the new iPhone," and all of this. It is one of those things that when I look at the astrology, all of this is what we call fated, right? It doesn't matter. You can go back in time, try to change it, think that if we did it this way, if we did that, yet there's still a fated part to it. Same within, how our lives are. There's certain things in our life are fated, things that happen in our life. We as humans don't want to believe that. It's hard for us to understand because we feel like we have that control. But the control that you have is an illusion. What you have and everything that you have is an illusion. And that's another thing that is very difficult, is understanding that things are fated and the world that we live in is an illusion. It's how you are accepting of it and how you work with it. And in order for you to get to that spiritual place. Now, as we are going to be going through between now and I'm going to say beginning of 2025, and I'm just starting to really look into more like 2025 is going to be one of the hardest years for the world and for all of us to go through. It is going to be a time of realization. Now, what does that have? It's like a lot of people are like, what does that have to do with me today? It has to do with how you're accepting things, how you are dealing with where you are at, and whether you feel it's good, whether you feel it's bad, whether you are indifferent on where you are. It is taking that time, especially in the dark phases, to allow yourself to connect to your higher power, connect to your divine, to your God, to your angels, to whomever you want to connect with, and allowing yourself to know that there is this higher power that is opening up doorways for us to go through. And in opening up those doorways is opening up where we are coming into an acceptance to a lot of the changes that are coming into our world at this time and how to deal with it. That means educating ourselves on it. And I've mentioned this before. And many of you will tell me, you're not savvy, you're not this, you're not that. I don't give a shit. You all have iPhones. You all know how to turn them on. You all know how to download an app. You all know how to find and Google things. You didn't know that before 2008. 2008 is when the iPhone came in. You didn't know how to turn on a computer. When I first turned on a computer, like actually starting to use a computer, understanding what a tab was. Now we think about that now and we're like, oh, that's so silly. Like, or the back button, being able to go back to a page, right? Flip it back. Many of us were like, oh, well, that's just common knowledge. But when it first came out, it wasn't common knowledge. We had to learn this. We had to adapt when the first TVs came in. And I remember my mother saying that, oh, I'll never have a TV in my house. I don't want that in my house. Well, I don't remember that, but that's what she told me. But in 1955, after my brother was born, they got a TV. And she said that was the best thing that she ever bought because all of a sudden she could turn the TV on, the boob tube, that's what they used to call it, and the kids were quiet because she could make dinner, she could get things done, and the kids are being entertained. Fast forward to today. What do? We see parents and we like, oh, that's just horrible. Look at that parent giving that kid the iPhone or an iPad or something. And there is, yeah, it's controversial and it's we have so many things to do with it and the brain functions and everything else. Yep. It's a way of entertaining your kid while you get shit done, right? Or it's a way of educating ourselves or finding out information that we never knew. In this moon, it is sort of a prelude, it's a setup of a lot that is going to be coming forward. We are now having Pluto going forward. Pluto will be leaving November 19th and entering into Aquarius. We'll never see Pluto back in Capricorn. Capricorn was a time when Pluto went into Capricorn, was a time of engagement. It was a time of the influencers. It was a time of YouTubers coming out and making their mark, right? Now we're going to find as Pluto leaves is that those communities are going to be no longer, right? People aren't going to be following the influencers or the YouTubers and things along that line. Things are going to be changing in new ways. Some ways I cannot even fathom what they are, but the changes will be coming forth. Now, entering into the Scorpio season is allowing ourselves to integrate this and looking at how we are wanting to put up those boundaries, how we are wanting to create the community, because that's what Capricorn is. We all think it's Aquarius, but it's Capricorn. Capricorn is the setup of the community, of the connections that you want to bring forth and take forward with you. And Scorpio is allowing you to put those boundaries up on those certain connections that you want. You know, how much do you want to have out there? Everything, and I know many of you will say, well, that's not going to happen to me. I hear people say to me, oh, that's, you know, I'm that's not going to happen in my industry. That's not going to happen in this industry. It is how fast things are going to be moving in our world and the realities that are going to be coming into our world, especially between now and I'm going to say March of next year, March, April of next year, are going to be where the wake up of the deceptions that have been around us. And we're kind of getting that feeling, and that's what Scorpio does. It's the digger, it's the investigator, it's the one who wants to find out the information and that information coming around. And the nanotechnology that is coming forward and the instruments that are going to be used within our world are, everybody says Canada's not the way the Canada that I grew up, and nor will it. The world isn't the way it was when I was a kid. No, and it won't go back. The world, the rapid changes that are coming forward for us are something where we are having to be able to pay attention to learn and to understand so we are able to navigate our way through. And understanding what's happening either through politicians and elections and the whole thing, even with our Canadian government, which is quite hilarious. It is all like a distraction, a game that's being played. Both sides know. Both sides know. Whether you're conservative or whether you're liberal, they both know what's coming forward. They both understand. Not one of them are talking about, like the tech or the tech groups and the technology and stuff like that that are coming through. When we look at what's going on, especially with Trump and the people that he has in board, like even bringing in JD Vance. JD Vance wasn't just like, oh, I'm just going to pick you because you're young. No, there was reasons and the connections he has with Google, the connections that he has with, with AI, with the different industries, right? And the innovations that are coming forth. Pierre. And people haven't even looked at, or even talked about like what are his investments, right? Are in AI. He has huge investments in AI. He has huge investments in medical AI. And people are like, "Oh, what does that mean?" That means he has a huge interest in how AI is going to be integrated within the medical system in having AI nurses, having different for shut-ins and visiting shut-ins, right? He's in on that technology and wants to innovate it and bring it more. That's just one of the craziness that's coming forward in our world. And it's to a point where you have to that's why it's so important to understand and acknowledge what's going on with government. I don't care how spiritual you are. I don't care how, oh, like, I just want to come in more enlightened. Cool, become more enlightened, but you still have to be able to decipher what is going on in the world around and what is real and what is not real, because things are going to come to you that you are going to swear are real. And that's why, when we're in Scorpio season, okay, between now and March of next year, okay, I'm bringing up my Scorpio tinglies and saying, "Okay, I need to learn how to understand this more," right? And being able to wake up. Because so much, like, I don't wanna say a lot here, what this new moon is activating and pushing forward, but it is bringing in a huge, uh, um where people are going to have to understand the changes that are coming. Right? And what those changes mean and what those changes are gonna look like in the world around us. That's why I mentioned about the TVs and the computers. Like, having, a TV, if you look at our TV today and what TVs looked like, let's just go by 2008. What the TV looked like in 2008 is nothing what it looks like today, and that's only 16 years. So just think in the next couple of years, that's why I say you're not going to have a TV. It's going to be some kind of projector, oculate that you're going to be wearing, or some other form that's going to be coming forth. Same with computers. Computers aren't going to be like these tangible things. It's going to be some kind of like pop up thing that comes up through the ground or something like that. Something that you haven't even conceived yet. It's crazy. It's crazy. But the innovations and everything that are going, Elon Musk in a week has set up a huge AI program. No, but like, I mean, he's had it out there. He's been telling people, and he's working with some of the top companies in the world that are trillion-dollar companies, right? That are there. And the innovations and the changes that are coming through are something that I think a lot of people are trying to not awaken to. Excuse me, but that's part of the awakening. That's part of what we are stepping forward. In Calgary right now, they have a an exhibit, and I think I'm gonna try and see if I can get tickets for it. And you can go and visit ancient Egypt by going and using the oculate and walk through ancient Egypt with a guide. A guide will come forward and walk you through. I think that is just utterly, I just think that's so cool. Um, oh, Mateus just had a birthday party, and it was called an Oculate birthday party, where all the kids went, and it was, in this warehouse, and they all got to wear these goggles, and they all got to, play and be a part of these different games and everything that they got to play and do, and he just, I mean, he's 9. Of course, they loved it. They loved it. The reprogramming of the brain and everything is already happening. And who is human and who is not human, and that which is around us, which we kind of know there are beings around us, but are going to be coming to the forefront and being of more exposure. And that's the world we're entering. We're entering into a new world, right? Just like they did in 1776, in 1778. They entered into a new world, a world that with freedoms, a world that they have never experienced before. If you think before 1778 and 1776, everything was controlled by a ruler. You had a monarch, right? In around the world, there was monarchs everywhere. Or, even, I mean, with, people call it the globalists, or you can even look at any of the tribes. All the tribes was ruled by a chief, right? There was somebody who was in charge, a family that was in charge, right? Doesn't matter. You can go through Africa, you can go through South America, you can go through North America, you can go through Asia. There's always been a sole ruler. And when you think about the time when the United States was formed, the Republic was formed, there was this was just totally new. It was a concept. Napoleon kind of tried to do it, but got a little bit greedy. Um, a concept that was coming forward on something that was new and innovative, right? And bringing that forward. Now we're stepping into another innovation, another way of doing things. And yeah, it's going to be really mucky and muddy, and it's going to be where people are going to get angry and revolt and say I don't want to do this. And that's because they're hung up because they want to have it the way it was, but it's not going to be there anymore. It's going to change. And this new moon is really having us step into this newness, into an understanding, and allowing us to go into that darkness, to just feel and to understand, where am I stepping forward next? What is it that I need to let go of? And what is it that I want to create and understand? So, those that don't want to pay attention to the political scene or pay attention to what is actually happening in the world around us are the ones probably going to be harder hit than those who are like, okay, I get it. This is what I need to work on, or this is what I need to invest in, right? And understanding where I'm investing. Money will change. Definitely. Money's always changed. And how we deal with money, how the money is, um, whether it is everything online or what have you. But money will change. And we're going to be seeing that. And that's, another hard one that's going to be coming forward. So the changes that are coming in and with this new moon is getting us to really awaken even more, not so much, but waken up into this world to really see what this world is activating and what it's doing. And that is so important because you want to make changes. You can't be all up here. You got to be down here and you got to be rooted. And if you're not rooted and you're not paying attention, then you're going to be fucked. Just saying. Just saying, Call me crazy, which they do. But, a lot that's coming in and getting all coming forward. I personally am excited for this new innovation and this new world. I'm excited to see a lot of the new technology that's coming forward. And technology, there's going to be some craziness that's going to come forward with it. And there's going to be, some beautiful things that come forward with it. One of the, thinking of some of the changes that happened, with innovations with how people heated their homes, how the homes were being built, um, how guns changed during that era as well. And how quickly, the printing press really made a huge change in the world. Sounds simple, right? But Benjamin Franklin, making the first library where books were available to everybody. That's knowledge. A lot of people didn't want that, right? We don't want people to have all that knowledge, but that's what came out of the innovation. That's what came out of the changes. New ideas, new thought systems were being brought forward during that time in the late 1700s, right up into the 1800s, right? It's when you look into the history and you look at all you think, oh, well, that's just old fashioned. But to them, that was new, innovative, right? Just right down to, parts of, as you're going, like it would be 20 years, so 7, 8, 9. I have to do it all in my head. So into the late 1790s, the Industrial Revolution was really beginning. New ways of creating steel, tin, machinery. Those were innovations that were starting out during that time, right? The combustion engine, the steam engine, right? Even though it was there, but somebody was taking it to the next level. Those are all part of the innovations that were coming forward. A lot of people were scared of them. They didn't want to step into them. My grandmother hated electricity. She was born, I think she was born in I got it down, but I think it was like she was born in like 1880 or something like that. Or maybe earlier, but just thinking that she didn't really have electricity, full electricity until when they moved here in 1919, there was the trolleys and the cableways and stuff like that. And electricity was, it was just that was there. You're coming from London, everything was going into electricity. All the gas lanterns were being changed. So and that's just from the late 1800s. So if you think from the 1700s, within 100 years, the innovations that changed there. Now we look at the last 100 years within our own world, in the last 16 years, how much has changed? How much has changed? And those innovations and changes, I mean, really are going to take effect in 2026 when Neptune and Saturn finally conjunct. And that will be, when things really, really start to um, connect, a lot more will start connecting when in 2026. But 2025 is going to be, and I just want to start preparing people now. It's November. Well, it will be November at the end of this week, but to get people to wake up. This whole thing with the woke society and everything, that's a Neptune in Pisces. That's when people are just radical and crazy um, and people choose all these leftist sides. But when Neptune goes into Aries, it's this huge awakening. He'll be there for a while in 2025, then retrograde back into Pisces, then go fully back into um, Aries. And that's when, a lot more of the changes and the innovations and stuff that are coming forward are going to be fixed within society. And even when Uranus goes into Gemini, when Uranus goes into Geminis, that's going to be when we're going to be really in the height of the war, and everything's going to be really coming forward. And governments are going to start to begin to change in ways that we never thought they would. But then they never thought it would change in 1776. They never thought it would change during Henry VIII's time either, and how Parliament started to becoming more a part of England, and the king was, still very powerful, but the changes and innovations were happening even then. And so it's inevitable. It's fated. You can't. Um, you think that you can go back and make those changes, but you can't. It's fated. It's written in the stars, as they say. And the stars never lie. When I look at the stars and I base everything on what I'm doing, I base it on astrology. And I say, this is what this is what's happening in the astrology. This is where Neptune is. This is where Saturn is. This is what happens every time, they get together. This is what's going on. And we're going to see this unfolding in our world. So same with Pluto going in Aquarius. We're going to see these innovations, these changes, the AI, the computer systems, the new technologies that are going to take over how we connect with one another, how we create things, how we are able to bring in new scientific medical advances in the world as well, and how we are going to be witnessing newness or new non-humans that are going to be around us. That's going to be really freaky. But more on that at another time. Right now, today, you might be feeling overwhelmed, a little bit aggravated, frustrated as we are coming into this new moon in Scorpio. So just take some time. You know, if you get to a place where it's like, yeah, this is really where I want to be, take a moment and appreciate it. Take a moment and step back and say, yeah, this feels really good. I like it here, kind of thing. So let's pull some cards. So if you are wanting a reading, definitely get a hold of me and I can book you in. I have a few dates that are going to be coming up in the next couple weeks. New moon readings will be coming out this week, probably probably Friday. Hopefully I can get some done tomorrow, but we'll see. And there's only like 4 or 5, I think 5, about 4 readings left for the year. And then that's it for the people who got the astro readings. So it's funny when I look back at a lot of my, when my guides are telling me to do certain things or go in certain directions, and you kind of like, you like, I don't understand, why are we doing that? Doesn't make any sense. But as I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, this makes total sense of why they directed me into working full time, stepping back a little bit from my company, uh, and just allowing it to be the way it is, or even not teaching, even not doing any teachings right now. And I'm just like, okay, I can see that, because there's just so much that's going to be coming forward for people that it's my teaching or readings and that are going to be there when people are awakening more and wanting to hear the truth. Yeah, direction. So it's going to be hard to find. You wanting to find that passion. You think you know that's the direction you're going to go into, yet it gets changed. It moves into a different way. So when we get the 3 of Wands and it's reversed, it's like I want to go in this direction, but it's not. I can't really fully see, so I have to trust. These 2 cards. I mean, this is like the 9 of Cups. I got to trust in my intuition. I know things are going to come to the way I need it to come, but maybe I'm pushing it too hard. I'm being too fiery. I'm being too something. Yet the intuition comes in, and the 9 comes in and says, you know what? It's coming. It's coming to fulfillment. You just have to have the patience for it. And the patience, yeah, because things are going to change, but they're not going to change the way you want them to. They're not going to be the way you think they're going to be. Like all of this that's happening within, and I got the woke society and all of that. I mean, the way the agenda is being pushed is, especially with Neptune going into Aries, it's totally going to crumble. It's going to fall in front of their faces, because the information that's going to be coming through, the whole morality and values and everything else are going to be totally exposed in different ways. Same with the political scene that's going to be coming in, and people are going to actually see a lot of the truths that are going to be coming out within it all. Not only within Canada, but in many countries, all the countries around the world. Things are going to be revealed, uh, and revealed in a way that, people aren't going to see them coming. They might have the feeling, and it is going to be for the highest good for all of it, but it's going to feel a little bit cray cray. but that's okay. We're in cray cray times, man. So I'm thinking at the end of the year, I will be doing my look into 2025 and more on what's going to be unfolding for 2025, because 2025 so far is just with some of the notes. I'm just looking down at some of the notes that I've been doing. Um, is going to be, as I say, this is a time for preparing for 2025. 2025, I told you guys what was going to happen when in November of 2019, and even in 2017, I started to warn people what was going to unfold in 2020, 2021. And I told them, and now I'm telling you again, 2025, we got to get prepared because this is going to be off the charts crazy, crazy. And so it's like, don't turn a blind eye when it comes to anything to do with your computer, with innovations, the whole bit. All right? It's better to have the knowledge than be blinded. All right? There you go. Have a blessed day, everybody. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all you say, in all you be, in all you do. Blessed be everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. See ya.